Good morning, students. Let's continue with software engineering again. So in the previous lectures, we have done the basic introductory topics relevant to software. Now let's continue with few more topics, quickly revising what we have done till now. What is a software? It consists of computer programs and associated documentation. Clear with this? Then what does that software consist of? That is a components, right? Graphically representing, to make it more clear, it consists of programs, operating procedures and documentation. So what does this documentation and operating procedures are? Let's elaborate on this. There are different types of manuals or the documentations that are prepared while the software is developed. Let's talk about the phase related. Say the first phase is requirement analysis and specification, right? So the document that is prepared here is we prepare a formal specification document. We make context diagrams and data flow diagrams. So ultimately these two are a part of SRS, software requirement specification document also, and these two are a part of design document also that we are going to elaborate in the further lectures. Then comes is a design phase where we prepare flowcharts and ER diagram. During the implementation phase, the source code listing is done and cost reference listing is provided. So ultimately these are also a part of documentation. And then testing, we prepare test data and test result. So don't get confused with the term implementation. That depends upon the model that we use. Here in this sequence, the implementation means is coding, but you will find later that implementation is also which is carried out. The name I'm talking about implementation after testing also. The installation part is also known as implementation, but that depends upon the model. I'll elaborate later also this part. Then what are operating procedures? Operating procedure is in order to operate your software, what is required, right? The documents which is going to assist them in proper exploiting your software. So the first one is your user manuals, where it consists of system overview, beginner's guide tutorial or the reference guide, while the operational manual consists of installation guide and system administration guide. So see, we are giving an overview only, but even then we can see lot many documents are being prepared. The software, other than the program or the code, it consists of these many documents, right, which makes it user friendly, easy to use, right, multifunctional, and it satisfies all the users requirement, right? Now what is software engineering? Quickly, it is an engineering discipline which is concerned with all aspects of software production. It adopts systematic and organized approach to their work, use appropriate tools and techniques depending upon what. It's not that we can use any tool or any technique for developing the software. That depends upon the problem first of all. What is a type or a kind of a problem you are solving and which technique is applicable for that, right? The development constraints. We have lot many constraints. We have design constraints, we have memory constraints, we have constraints on functional requirement, we have constraints on non-functional requirements. So you have to consider all those type of constraints or the conditions applicable, right? And then whatever resources are available, we try to use that. We are not going to run for a particular resource which is not available to us, right? Availability also matters a lot. Then the establishment and use of sound engineering principle in order to obtain economically developed software that is reliable and work efficiently on real machines. So simply cost effective, it must be reliable in nature, and it must work efficiently. A discipline whose aim is the production of quality software that is delivered on time, within budget, and that satisfies its requirement. So ultimately this is a major objective: quality product in less time, less cost, and fulfilling all the requirements of the user. So these two definitions are equally good, but now since the maintenance cost is increasing, What do you mean by maintenance cost? One is a development part. Once you deploy your software, then it comes under maintenance part. Anyone aware of how much is the maintenance cost? Can you compare development and maintenance cost? If I say roughly, development cost is just 40%, while maintenance cost is 60% of the overall software development cost. Overall software cost. So see, during the development it's less, only 40% of the cost is required. But where is the major investment? While you're maintaining your software. So we have to reduce that maintenance cost. That is our basic aim in software engineering. We have to make our code and software developed in such a way that future changes can be easily implemented in that, so that less effort, time and cost is required. So always remember, we are working on reducing the maintenance cost always, right? So let's see here what does it says. Due to increase in the cost of maintaining software, objective is now shifting to produce quality software that is maintainable. Always remember, it must be maintainable in nature. What does maintainable mean? There must be scope of changes. Delivered on time, within budget, and satisfies the requirement. Okay, fine. There's not much, but just have to remember that it must be maintainable in nature. Now, coming up to the main topic, the characteristics of the software. Either call it as attributes of the software or the features of the software. We also sometimes call them as quality attributes also. But here, since we are going to compare or identify the characteristics of the software comparing with the hardware, see, we'll see two things. We'll identify the characteristics based on hardware, and second, we are going to identify the characteristics based on quality attributes. Two parameters are there. So let's see the first one. As you are going to compare it with the hardware, what makes software different from a hardware, right? So the first one is software is developed or engineered, right? While what about hardware? Hardware is manufactured. What does it mean? Developed or engineered means systematically, phase by step you are going to develop a software. You are developing it from the scratch, first step, second step, third step, and we go on developing it until unless the entire software is developed. So that is engineered, right? Well, what is manufactured? Let's talk about computer. You're going to assemble a computer, right? So what we do? The already built up components by different vendors, we go and purchase it, we collect them together, we assemble them, and we make it work. So that is manufactured. The components are being manufactured by different vendors. You simply go and collect them, assemble them together, install an operating system, and your computer is ready. So you're not developing those components from scratch. You are already taking the built up components and just assembling them together. So that is manufactured, while software is developed from scratch, from the very minute thing, that is data, and you're going to convert that data into your required output by applying different process. The second one, software doesn't wear out, but it deteriorates, right? What does wear out means and what does deterioration means? Let's see with the help of this diagram. This is a hardware curve. We have represented the failure rate of an hardware with respect to time here. Initially, when any hardware is developed, it is useless. Failure rate is high. We cannot use it. Say the component of a computer is built. Component I mean is motherboard, processor, mouse, monitor, keyboard, CPU. Are they functional in themselves? No, they are not at all functional. So we say the failure rate is high. We call this part as burn in phase, right? Then what we do, we assemble it. As you are going to assemble it, it comes under useful life once you install the operating system. So this is the useful life. Assembling all the things, installing the operating system, it comes under the useful life. But what happens after some time? Maybe for years it is going to work properly. But what happens in hardware components? Wearing and tearing takes place, friction, or maybe due to some other reasons. So it renders useless after a certain lifespan, and again the failure rate increases and you need to replace that hardware. This is normally a life of a hardware. Initially failure rate is high, then you make it work, it comes under a useful life for some time, and finally again failure rate increases and it becomes useless. Replace it. Say you need to replace many components, either you can replace the components or the entire assembled one has to be replaced. So this is what a hardware curve is. The life of a hardware, we call it as a bathtub curve, right? Similarly, if I talk about software curve, how it is going to behave. Ideally, again representing with a failure rate and time, initially software when it is developed doesn't work, right? You write the code, implementation part is your code, you write the code, but it's not into functional stage or operational phase. What we need to do, we need to test it with each and every aspect or the parameter, all the requirements are being fulfilled or not, functional, non-functional constraints and everything. So once it is developed, again it is not useful, you test it, you make it work. Okay, so it comes under useful life. This straight line represents a useful life. Now ideally we say that software works for long span, there is no end to a software. So that is your ideal case, right? This is idealistic curve, it will work throughout. But practically what happens? Initially the failure rate is high, now you make it work by testing it, installing it at the customer's location. Now it started working here. Now when it started working here, say some sort of change is required, that is maintenance we are talking about. Once you deploy your software, customer or the end user start using it, then what happens is maybe some error arises while they are using it, right? So as soon as any error comes, right, the failure rate will increase, the result of a side effect. Error is a side effect, any defects comes in your software, right? So what happens? Failure rate will increase. Now you'll try to eliminate that error. Gradually the failure rate will decrease and it will come again under useful life. Then maybe some other reason, again maintenance is called for. Say you need to add more features to your system, right? Some other vendor has given a software which has additional functionality, so everyone is leaving your software and switching towards that new one. So that will be a loss in your business. So ultimately what you'll do, you'll try to enhance your software so that the people use your software only. So again in that case also failure rate will increase, right? Because some change is required, you again enhance your software, it will come under useful life again. Third reason, I'm telling you the basic three reasons for maintenance. One is due to the residual errors or the side effects. Another one is additional features needs to be added in your system. Or the third one is the process or the technology gets changed, that is the environment gets changed and you need to adapt it to the environment, right? Say your software was working on Windows XP, initially I'm talking about. Now some other operating like system Windows came, higher version, now it is not going to work in that. So what is the requirement? We are not going to make a new software of similar kind for that new environment. It will take again years, and by the time again some new technology or the process would come in. So better is the existing software, you have to make the changes so that it adapts to the change in environment and again it will come under useful life. So this is what the actual curve of an software is. This is known as a spiky curve, right? So now there was a term, software gets deteriorated. It doesn't get wearing out, it gets deteriorated. Deteriorated means outdated after some time. how well you try, you make the changes now and then, you will see that this is rising upwards towards the failure rate. So it's not that software is inevitable, it will work for the endlessly, it will never happen. After some time, when you make so many changes, it's not three only, thousands of changes you have made, you are maintaining your software and making n number of changes, a time would come that there is no scope of making a change. That term is known as it gets deteriorated, outdated. You cannot make changes now. Ultimately, you have to replace it with a new one. This is known as a software curve, right? Spiky curve. So software is not manufactured. Reusability of components are there, right? Reusability of the component means, here the component means is, say you have developed a login page in X software. Now you are developing other softwares also, that authentication or a login page is always required. So why to build up again? It is already built in one. You can get it from there and use it in your software. Just import it. Right? So reusability of the components. Software is flexible since you have the scope of making the changes. It's not rigid. You can make the changes. So it's flexible. So this was your second characteristics. Software doesn't wears out, but it gets deteriorated. Then the third one is software continues to be custom built. Okay. What we say is hardware is a generic product. Anyone can use it, right? It's not customized for a particular user. You can check for, like, take an example of assembling a computer only, the component processor, anyone can use it. But when we talk about software, though they are generic also, but maximum the softwares are built which are customized in nature, customized for a particular user or an end user or a customer, right? Personalized. So you're supposed to develop library automation system. If I say this line, then it is generic, anyone can use it. But if I use the term library automation system for graphic are deemed to be university, it is customized. So when customer is asking you to build a software, definitely you are building a customized software only, right? So hardware are generic built while software are custom built, right? So these are the characteristics with respect to the hardware. Now coming up to the other essential attributes or the characteristics of the software with respect to quality now. What do you mean by a quality? How you will define quality of a software? Like in hardware, we say the quality would mean, say you're going to buy an electrical equipment. What you look for? You look for ISI mark, that is a benchmark. If it is ISI marked, it increases your satisfaction and confidence on that particular product. Okay, it is properly tested, right? And it is going to work properly. It is not going to prove fatal, or it won't be dangerous at all, right? So this is what is a quality. So what about quality in terms of software? Do we have any benchmark? No. How you will define it? In generic term, quality means fitness of purpose. That is, it is going to fulfill all the requirements of the software. So if I say I was supposed to develop 5 requirements in a software, 5 modules or functional requirements, I implemented all those 5, say creation of record in library management system, deletion, searching, issue and return. Okay, I have developed all the 5. The user is not able to use it. It's not user friendly. He don't know how to use these functionality. Will it be a quality product for that user? No, it won't be, because he is not able to use it. It seems to be complex for him, right? So fitness of purpose is okay, fine, all the requirements must be implemented, but apart from these requirements which are implemented correctly, there are several other parameters also which leads to quality, right? The first one, the most important one, is maintainability. Whatever you develop must be maintainable in nature, because in future you are supposed to make several changes. We have seen in the last slide that changes are required Maintenance is required due to some other reasons now and then. So there must be scope of making these changes. Then dependability. Dependability includes various characteristics, right? Dependable software should never cause any physical or economic chain damage at the time of system failure, right? So there must be no failure. You can easily depend upon it. Is going to fulfill all your requirements. Efficiency. It is going to efficiently, like it must work properly. Along with that, it must use your resources properly, memory and processor cycle. It's not that it's hanging your system. Say whenever we install some heavy softwares, though it works, but the response given is very slow because the system gets hanged. So that is not an efficient one. It must efficiently work utilizing the resources properly. Usability. What I said is usability is user friendly. You must have a proper UI developed for that. Graphical user interface is something we say it must be there. It increases the visibility and understandability of the software, right? So that is your usability. So these are few essential characteristics: maintainability, dependability, efficiency, usability. But other than that, there are lot many quality attributes. Think of all the LET terms you think of: understandability, efficiency, reliability, security, testability. Then you can think of traceability, right? Flexibility, interoperability, correctness, efficiency, reusability. There are a lot many terms which leads to quality. But it's not that all these LET terms are applicable to all the softwares. No. That depends upon the type of the software you're developing. If you're developing a banking software, definitely security is a major concern. It must be implemented. That software must be secured. But if I say I'm using a simple website, so security is not going to be a major concern there. The concern would be availability, reliability, and all the features must be equally implemented. So that depends upon the type actually. If I talk about network operators, like we have BSNL, Airtel, Reliance, so many things. So what do you look for? The connectivity is proper. It provides you services consistently, right? The server is not down. So that is known as availability, right? The server must be available to communicate all the time. So you can compare, is BSNL better or Reliance? Definitely Reliance, not BSNL, because the server is almost down on BSNL. We are not able to carry out our desired task. So that is availability. So that depends upon the domain or the type of project you are developing. So let's divide these characteristics of a software into three categories: operational categories, transitional categories, and maintenance categories. You can represent it using a triangle that it has three sides. One is an operational side category, second one is a transitional, and the third one is a maintenance. So what are the operational characteristics of the software that helps us in operating that in a better way, easily, simply, right? So first operational characteristics is cost, that is a budget. You are supposed to develop the software in less cost as per the customer's budget only. It must work efficiently, right? Efficiency is important, utilizing the resources in a limited way and giving you the maximum output in that. Then usability, I told you, is user friendly. Users are able to use it properly. Dependability, we have done this. Correctness, all the requirements must be correctly implemented. It's not that customer has asked to search a book in the library based on book name, but you have implemented based on author. So there is a difference. What is expecting specifically, you need to implement that only, not assuming yourself something and doing it, right? Functionality, all the functions must be implemented, whatever is expected by the user. Safety, yes, it is important. Security, I've told you, it must be secure. These are the operational characteristics. Then what are transitional characteristics? That means where we have to show a transition from one terminal to another, one platform to another. So there can be movement of different kinds, like interoperability. We want our system to interoperate software, like client server interaction, the chatting that we do. Okay, so interoperability. Reusability is, say I have given an example of a login page, you have developed it once, so you can reuse it at some other software. Why to develop that component again and again which is already built up? That would be simply wastage of resources and time, right? So reusable components must be there. We'll elaborate later that reusability is achieved by component based software engineering. Component based software engineering is where we never develop the software from scratch. We look for the components which are already built up and which match our requirement. We import all those components, customize as per our needs, combine them together, and our software is developed. So that saves our time and cost. So that is reusability. Portability. It must be portable in nature, can be used on multiple platforms, say on your desktop, on your laptop, on your even mobile also. So it must be portable in nature. Adaptability. It must adapt to the according to the environment in which you are going to install it or the changes that ever is required. So these are transitional characteristics. Then maintenance. Now what is required for maintenance? Your software must be flexible, it must not be rigid. If it is rigid, you cannot make the changes, right? So it must be flexible. For maintenance, maintainability must be there. There is a scope of change. ऐसा नहीं है कि it's closed boundaries are there, you cannot make the change. It must be maintainable in nature. Modularity means what? When we have a software large and a complex problem to develop, we never develop it at one go, right? Starting from one point and writing the thousands of lines of code and doing it. No. Modularity means is dividing them into sub problems, further into sub parts, until unless you get a part which is simple, can be easily explored and implemented. Take an example. You have a bunch of sticks tied together. Now you try to break it. It won't. Right? That is what large and a complex problem is. If you want to explore it at one go, it won't happen. But untag it. What happens once you untag it? You give one stick to different people. That is the team members. And now ask them to implement it. Okay? So they can easily explore that individual stick. What is the type, quality, how much strength is required to break it and everything, and they try to break it, it breaks easily. Okay, so this is what a large and complex problem is divided into sub problems, further into sub problems or sub parts, until unless you get a part which can be easily explored and implemented. So these problems which I am saying ki it is divided into sub parts and all, these are modules actually. The major module or a large and a complex module is divided into sub-modules, further divided into sub-modules, and then you give it to the individual team members or the group of team members depending upon the complexity of that part. They'll develop it. At last you are going to integrate them together, right? And your software is developed. So that is modularity. Divided it into modules and carry forward your work. Scalability. What do you mean by scalability? Say you are supposed to develop a software, right? Say, let's assume an example this way. You are supposed to calculate the strength in a class. What is the approach you are going to use? And how much is the maximum strength that is possible in a class? Say, let's assume maybe it's maximum of 100 students that can be accommodated in a class. Now you are supposed to count these students. What will be the strategy? How you are going to count it? The only strategy is either row wise or column wise. Start counting one by one and you will get the strength of a class. So this is a small scale problem where we were simply asked to count the number of students present in a class, and the approach is simple, either row wise or column wise. Now switch it to a larger scale. Now the same problem, but increasing the scale, that is, I'm going to scale up this problem to count the strength in a university, that is, number of students in a university. So will the same approach that was used in the previous case, case 1, right, can be applicable in this case too, where we need to count the number of students in a university? Yes, we can scale up. It's not key we have to make an another software. What we'll do is we just have to add one parameter here, just a simple change, and you can count the strength of a university. That is, approach will remain the same, row wise and column wise in a class. Just the only thing required is number of classes. If you know the number of classes, the strength of each class can be counted using the same row wise and column wise approach, and at the end you have to just take the summation. Okay. The same problem, same approach can be scaled up, right? Counting in a class small scale, counting for a university larger scale. So software must always be scalable in nature. You have to make it in such a way there is a scope of this change. You can scale this to a larger limit also. But what about? It must be infinitely scalable. No, it's not possible. Now take the third case. Now I want you to find the population of Dehradun or population of India with the same approach. Is it possible? No, it fails here. So this is what we say, a software must be scalable in nature, but it has a limit. To a certain limit only you can use the same approach, right? Or the same software can be applicable for that limit, but not beyond a certain limit. It becomes useless. You have to replace it, and you have to use another methodology or a software to do the work. So these are few of the characteristics. 3 major domains, right? Operational characteristics, transitional and maintenance. Operational are these, transitional are this, maintenance is this. But don't limit to yourself. There are more quality attributes depending upon the type. Like I said, traceability is also there, reliability is also there, right? Likewise, we have so many things. We'll discuss them later on also as we move ahead with other topics. We have separate topic of quality where we are going to do all these again. Thank you for today. Again, if you have any problem, we can discuss in the discussion class later.